Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Gaming After Dark podcast. I am your host, Mr. Boom Boom Kaboom. It's Noof Nukem in the room. What a really busy, crazy sort of day. Obviously, before we get to our fantastic guests of the evening, let's give a big warm welcome to our other amazing co-host, the always charismatic, the man that brings the common back to sense. It is Titan Drago. What's up, Titan, baby?
What's up, everybody? There's a big elephant in the room tonight as, America literally hangs in the balance. So I'm glad we have this podcast to kind of take our minds off of what is really happening right now and, things that are out of our control. And all we can do now is watch and hope America has learned from their mistakes. So let's bring these topics of gaming in and, as we go to our Zen place, let's have some fun in the meantime. And boom,
Sure.
It's been way too long, buddy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, brother. Definitely.
Well, before we get to the guests, yes, it is America votes. And yes, a lot of people say, well, what do you guys up in Canada have to do all with this and think? And technically nothing. But we have learned in the past that a lot of things that happen in the United States have a trickle-down effect for us Canadians. So we do watch things very close. And you also have to remember that as Canadians, a bulk load of our television is actually American broadcast television. So we see a lot of things that happen south of the border. Heck, in most cases, most Canadians know more about America than they do about our own damn country, which is crazy. But that's just how it is. And I just want to wish everybody, look, first of all, just get out and vote. That is your democratic right to do so. Some countries in this world don't even have that. So take advantage of it while you can. Make a calculated choice. Obviously, it's a 50-50 down in the U.S. Up here, we have a shitload of people to vote for. And just be safe. Crazy stuff could happen prior to or after the elections, and I just want everybody to be safe and just be happy, be safe, get out and vote, guys. So I'm sure you guys, Boomstick and Crispy and Titan, you guys have probably all had a chance to place your ballots, I'm sure.
Yeah, done.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Well, wait, this show isn't about politics. It's about the things that are actually fun in life, and that is gaming and pop culture and so much more. If you didn't notice already, guys, yes, the MAGG is missing. He's got a lot of stuff on his plate right now. He's busy, so he couldn't make it. He was on Primetime Gaming last night. Got to check him out over there. Yes, so he will be back again next week. That also means Tony Baloney won't be making an appearance. Big shout out as well to Joe Dunmore, who's in the chat, who actually was the winner of the game last week. The Name That Game contest. So let's give a quick shout out to the chat real quick. Infinite is here hanging out with us. What's going on, baby? Phantom Kraken. We have got Red Raven in the house. The always reliable Spider-Man swinging through. Gander Lad, what's up? I'm assuming that's Gander, Newfoundland. And if so, welcome to the show, my fellow Newfoundlander. Doggy Dog 420, Mr. Dependable himself. We have got Casket Repair, Custodes X. We have got Joe Dunmore. She has no elites here. Dr. Dinglet's back in the house. Good. Black Card 1. Juan Castillo. Anime Heaven is here. H. Obama, the man with the amazing beard. Yes. There we go. Born Distracted. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. And let's get over to our amazing guest. Let's get the show on the road. He is the man of many podcasts like Primetime Gaming, the Xbox Factor Podcast, Breakfast with Boom. His channel just exploded over 7,000 subs. Congratulations on that. He is one of the most dedicated, hardest working content creators going, and I am happy to call this man a friend. Give it up for the amazing Mr. Boomstick XL.
Dude, I got to tell you, that was some opening. I think that you would give Cognito from the Iron Lords a run for his money, dude. Thank you for that. Yeah, it's great to be a part of the Tonight Show. Thank you for the invite, as always. Always great to hang out with the crew, as well, of course, as the chat, who a lot of them are in. I mean, we all seem to share the same, community members, which is pretty cool. And I love to see the support go around, because obviously we're still very small content creators, and it's great to see that they turn out in big numbers. And yes, I did cross 7,000 subs today, which is pretty ridiculous. I had, like I said it on today's show, I had myself pegged as potentially hitting 5. That was my goal for 2020, and I have exploded past it. And that's due to this incredible community that has welcomed me with open arms. So thank you so much for that, dude.
Well, big congrats on that, Boom. Like I said, man, you have worked your ass off. You have put in the time, as you know, we talked about consistency. Well, you're the model of it. And like I said, your podcasts are reliable. like I said, and it's not the BS that some other, we've seen some other content creators just thrive on BS constantly. That is not how you roll, and we love it. Yes, let's get over to our next guest of the evening. He's been on this podcast before. He is one of the most outspoken, charismatic, and energetic podcasters with a unique voice box only a mother could love. Just kidding, man. Dude is a huge Gears fanatic and a panel member of Retro Renegade. Most importantly, he is an all-around great guy and a good friend. Give it up for the one, the only, also making a big boom. It is the Crispy Bomb.
Oh, we got all the booms here tonight. Come on,
You sure
man.
do.
You got the kaboom, you got the boomstick shotty, baby, and you got just the bomb just chilling. So, I mean, come on, this is going to be great. I look forward to the topics. We've seen them. They are plain Jane, not like Boomstick gives me that whole that whole essay. Like I'm going to school. But
You're definitely getting checked for proper proper note study.
but at the end of the day, we are here. We are ready to roll. Let's do it.
Dude, I feel like singing that song, one of these things is not like the other.
Who was the oddball out of this actual podcast? That's it. Titan's got to change his moniker now. He needs some more explosives in there. Huh?
Titan Boom Drago.
It should be Titan TNT or TNT Drago. There you go, guys. What do you think?
TNT Drago. Oh.
Yeah. This podcast goes
coming back to the sense.
It should be boom, 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 and Titan goes, bring in the goblin, back his heads. Bring in the fuse, back the bombs. All right. It's gonna be a great show, guys. What's up, Doggy Dog? Pong Souls here. What's happening, guys? We appreciate it. Wild Bates is in the house. We got Dead Proof, got some new people, Blue Moon FC. What's happening?
Custodes, good one, buddy. Good one. If anyone was here last week, that's a good he said Titan Buttercup Drago. I was joking on a Reese's peanut butter cup last week.
The whole time he's trying to talk and he wouldn't give it up. He wouldn't drink water. He's just like,
I got my voice almost reached a grind to a Crispy Bomb level.
He had a wheeze going on last week, man.
That's hard to do. I'm just saying.
Yeah. It was like pubic hair caught in the throat, kind of wheezing over there.
No, it's just Treadpool's beard. There you go.
Same thing.
Same thing.
All right, guys, let's get right down to it. We got a lot of topics. We're going to keep this show rolling. And yes, we are, like, guys, officially now a week away from the next gen launch of consoles. So next week is going to be a big show too. And some of these guys may be back here, but let's get right down to it, guys. Got a few topics for you here. Let's see where we are at. Just the first one. Like I said, we're approaching Xbox Series X, PS5 launch week. First of all, I mean, what system are you getting? Are you getting both? And what excites you most about the launch and what might be disappointing you at this point? I will start first with my co-panel member of Titan Drago. Dude, like I said, let us know what you're picking up. And even if you're not getting one, at least what is exciting you and what sort of been the big letdown so far?
Let me tell you, if I wasn't getting one of these, I would want you all to bitch slap me in the face, okay? I was able to secure both of the Series X and S thanks to my amazing wife that supports me, my hobbies, and and the decisions I make every day. But yeah, she helped me and then she pissed me off because she secured both the orders, and I'm we're like teaching online classes at the same time while we're trying to find these things. So so I'm like, I got one. I run it into her. She's like, I already got them both. I'm like, oh my god, why didn't you tell me? But the excitement is mostly about the SSD for me. Like, I've never had one in my PC, never had one in a console, and I'm glad that Xbox didn't go cheap on it too. Like they put a legit SSD in this thing, so that's what excites me the most. I mean, I could go on for days about what excites me from these consoles. For everything from having 4 in my house to one for everyone in the family. Like that's super hype for me.
Yes.
And to tell you the truth, I haven't been really disappointed by really anything. I mean, outside of maybe the Halo, maybe if I had to nitpick, if I had to say, I know it comes with the territory, but the sheer number of game delays, and to that I have this to say, right, about the game delays.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a game developer, just don't give a release date. Like, why?
Right.
Like, just don't do it. Like, unless you absolutely know for a fact that you're going to be able to release that game before that date that you give. I mean, that's just me. And it's like, because I'm sure a lot of gamers out there are feeling the same thing as me right now. Because it's getting frustrating, right? Like, it's almost like a AAA game nowadays. It's like, it's guaranteed. It's almost guaranteed at least one delay. What do you think about that? Because I want to know your opinion on it and everyone else's. But for me, that's getting frustrating. So if I had to nitpick and say, yeah, that's what I would say.
Well, just let me tell you, I'm happy for you. First of all, that you got them secured, and I'm also happy that you decided to take a chance on the Xbox the little ugly brother of the Xbox Series S, which I personally think still shouldn't exist, but that's just one of my opinions. They wanted to bid on the power and the price, and it looks like they got it with both. But anyway, let's just give a quick shout out to some of the people just rolling into the chat. What's going on? Born Distracted, Stu Drinks, Echo Fall, Z Black Rider, Dead Proof says, I want one bad. I'm patient. Gonna wait till the debacle is over to get one, and I'm okay with that. Marlesco, what is happening, brother? Thanks for being here. Glad you could be. Crazy Greek dude is in the house. Stubbs Gaming is here. He's got to go to bed soon. Stubbs, thanks for being here, brother. Greatly appreciate it. Let's get over to Mr. Boomstick XL. I know this is a man who's got them on a lockdown. So, my friend, let me know what you're most excited about and perhaps some of the most disappointing parts of this whole ordeal so far, including games or hardware, etc.
Well, you know what? In regards to disappointment, I don't actually think I have any, to be honest with you, because I was able to secure not one, not two, but all three consoles.
Dang.
And I'm getting the PlayStation 5. I'm getting the one with the disc because I still have a tremendous amount of VR stuff, and most of Sony stuff I buy through physical media. I do have, of course, a ton of digital, but Sony and Nintendo stuff I buy physical for some reason. And Xbox is all digital, but for Xbox, I mean, I'm getting the X for out here. I'm getting the Series S for in the room because I want to support the brand, and I really want to use both of these consoles. My only disappointment is for the people who have not secured their consoles. Right. I think that is what I'm disappointed about. And if I could take it a little bit further, if I had to really, focus a laser sight on disappointment, it would be for Sony. Sony, because of their botched reserve that was supposed to go a day later, and then it went a day earlier, and they've been so wishy-washy with their messaging. We did a story last night about how they're canceling in-store pickups for a lot of the big chain stores for Sony's PS5, and we've all come to the realization that it's not because they want to prevent people from getting COVID, which is the excuse that they used. They're just trying to mask they're not ready for this launch. They're launching just to launch, to say that they launched, and it's if I had a disappointment, it would be how Sony has not only treated its fan base, but how they continue to change the narrative and logistically lie to the people that will lie in the front of a train, for something, if you say something bad about Sony.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. They need to call them out. Sony has been pretty shady with a lot of things, and their message has been all over the board. And a lot of people. I mean, it's going to be tough with the Xbox Series X, but it's starting to look, based on the media and from the sources that we've been hearing from, that they are very short on shipments, and it's not looking like people may not even get their hands on a PS5 till well into next year. I mean, but traditionally speaking, I noticed that a lot of retailers do get constant influx of consoles. I remember this when the Wii came out. It was such a high demand, and it was kind of like you had to be there when the truck showed up, whether it was 3 or 4 at a time, but they were coming, and you just had to be lucky to get one. Otherwise, they were sold out, and you had to wait for the following week or the week after for this once over again. I think we're going to see a very similar situation here, where it's not like the assembly lines have stopped and they're like, if you don't get one on the first week, you're completely screwed. but I know everybody's passionate about this hobby, and a lot of us would like to have them on day one. You kind of feel like you missed the train, so to speak, if you're not in on the ground floor. But I think a lot of people will be able to pick one up. I really think before Christmas, especially for the Xbox for sure. So, Crispy, hey man, how about yourself, dude? Have you been able? I think you said that you didn't manage to lock one down. You're kind of patiently waiting.
Yeah, no, I'm just balls deep in not securing a console, so that's the way it is. My excitement for the new console is FPS, not first person shooter, people. Just saying, it's frames per second.
Mm-hmm.
Really interested in what the Series X is going to do with that. I'm not in the market for a Series S. I think my One X is fully capable of giving me an experience that I can enjoy. So Series S is not on my realm. It's all about the Series X. I actually tweeted out that, I have this giant change jar that is just
I saw that.
And it's gleaming, and you can see all the quarters in there. And everybody's like, you're 60 cents short. And I'm like, yeah, well, I'll be 60 cents short, and I'll use whatever I got to do after that. But it's just fun to understand that I'm at least a few months away from having it. I hope I can get it far quicker, but retail requires me to be at work, and I'm a manager, so it is what it is. Like, I wanted to take the day off, and I just couldn't. A lot of things came involved, so I'm hoping for the best. I mean, I have the money. Clearly, it might be in quarters, but you could take that to the bank at the same time. But it's hilarious that people are like already trashing each console all the time, and they don't even have it in their hands. And it drives me nuts. It's like, dude, we got something new, we got something shiny, we got something great, and whatever console you want to play it on, that's fine.
Yeah.
But all I see is 60 FPS from one console, and I see touting 120 frames per second on certain games on another console. But guess what? They all say it's old games. Well, those old games that are on the other console aren't doing 120 frames per second. So what's wrong with the hardware?
Right.
Sorry. I mean, if you're not interested in just the game itself, you might have a problem with that.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Like, I'm going to sit here and watch the whole spiel unfold and just laugh at it. And that's all I'm going to do.
Well, hey guys, can we all just agree at least on one thing, including people in the chat, that PlayStation 5, that is one big bitch. What do you think?
That's a huge bitch.
You can't do it like me.
Bitch.
That huge bitch.
There you go. You got to have a little spit in the vinegar there. As far as I'm concerned, I'm excited. I can't wait to get my Series X. Honestly, I know a couple of months back, I was pretty well leaning forward on a PS5. I don't really know what changed so much, but I just thought about it overall, and the Series X really excites me. I mean, I've always been an Xbox guy. It's a platform I've always gravitated to, and I will at some point get a PlayStation 5, but I will probably just kind of wait till, again, they have enough consoles on store shelves where I can easily walk into the store
get one,
and pick one up without feeling the hassle, or, like, it's not urgent. I got a big backlog. I got lots of PlayStation 4 games to play. It's not like do or die. It's not the end of the freaking world, and I will have my Series X, and I'll be able to play some games on that, whatever they may be. Like I say, Halo was the big disappointment for me. There really is. That's the biggest one overall. We all wanted to play this game day and date when this launched, and I don't think anybody's more disappointed than the people at Microsoft themselves, who feel that they've let a lot of fans down, they let the studio down, they've let Phil down. They had marketing out for months on this, through Monster energy drinks and chip bags, and all of a sudden your flagship title is like, well, it's going next year. And of course the memes, Microsoft's taking it very personal. And you can also to see that Microsoft's having fun too, because the whole meme about the fridge, they went out and actually made fucking fridges and gave one to Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
And I think even Aaron Greenberg is feeling it out right now. He's asking people like, if they made a mini fridge, would you buy one? And I said, hell yeah. But
I saw that tweet. I said, depending on how much it is, because I'm not paying $5,000 for a fridge, but because that thing was huge. That was also a huge.
Well, let me tell you, that Xbox.
I feel like
Xbox Series X can do 60 beers.
Damn it, no! I feel like the more you draw your WWE wrestler inside, like the better it comes off. What were you saying now?
I was just gonna say, the Xbox Series X fridge can do 60 beers a second.
Oh man!
Full -5 degrees chilled.
No, man, like because we're thinking about moving here in like the next year or two, possibly. So, like, I'll have a new man cave, a bigger man cave. You know, we're gonna upgrade and whatnot, and that I would love to have that thing in my man cave. I ain't gonna lie, that
would be
legit.
dope.
And the green light on the inside. Oh my god,
cool. Yeah.
it was so cool, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, well, let's just go from an aesthetic thing, guys, and let's get this into chat. Which console do you find is more eye pleasing to you? One for Xbox Series X and two for PlayStation 5. You got to think one is more attractive than the other, right? So I want to vote. Let's go with Mr. Boomstick, Mr. Boom. So if these two things had women and boobs, which one would you like more?
Definitely. Anyway. I'm going to say that. Listen, the reality is that the PlayStation 5 is egregious in size. It does look futuristic. I think standing up is going to be a problem for a lot of people because it's going. Like I have to logistically, and I've said this before. I have to go out and buy a new piece of furniture, the one that I particularly want, that's going to fit these consoles comfortably.
Talking about an entertainment center?
Yeah.
We talked about that last week, didn't we?
Yeah, I have to go out and buy a new one because unfortunately what I have now, it's just not going to work.
It ain't going to cut it.
So the one particular piece of the entertainment center that I particularly want, it just happens to be sold out everywhere. And I'm not sure if that's due to COVID and they're just not making them. But it's the one that I found that it literally fits everything perfectly. And I'm going to have to wait for it. But yeah, the PlayStation 5, I'm going to have it lying down. The Xbox Series X, I don't know if I'm going to put it behind the TV because I can't stand it in front of the TV.
Dude, I can understand the pain is real. My wife went out and bought a brand new dildo last week, and we had to replace the whole dresser.
It took a second. It took way too long for me to get that joke.
A little delay. They were tight.
It took way too long for me to get that.
Guys, sit back those energy drinks. See, even Crispy Bomb's avatar is laughing at that one. Look at that one. Crispy, how about yourself, man? Which one do you find is more aesthetically pleasing to yourself?
Well, I mean, you got to go with the girth. I mean, come on. She stands tall, she stands proud, and she has a little something that you haven't seen before, and there you go. and that's like it. And that's the way I roll. Like, I see this flashiness, and it's like that girl that's like, hey, you can go fuck yourself when you try to ask her out. So, yeah, I'm good with that. So,
if these consoles were women, right? You got the PS5. That PS5 looks like it, looks like one of those, those high attention
6'10" girls that are standing over your ass. Like, there you go.
And they require all the attention and all the, they want all the best stuff. And then you got the Series X. It's got a little meat to it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If I was to put them to women, that's the way I would envision them.
Well, I can see some guy going, that Xbox Series X, that's a basic bitch. Oh man, who was it on the podcast? Was it on Wilmie's show where I don't know if it was HR Bomber or who it was? He said their wife saw the first time he saw the picture of the PS5. They said, "Why does that thing look like a giant vag?"
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It literally does. There's been a lot of memes about that too.
All right. You went too far, people. You went too far.
I've seen a lot of memes about that.
Sorry, guys. Yes, anybody that's in the chat and doesn't know, this is Gaming After Dark for a reason, because we do get a little bit raunchy. Please do not hold that on our guests. They have nothing to do with this podcast.
I think I'm the most frequent guest, actually.
You might be frequent flyer miles here.
Yeah.
It's all in good
Delta
fun,
miles, baby. Let's go.
It's all in good fun. We mean nothing by it. So hope you guys are having fun. Jesse Darby, what's up? Speaking of people in the chat and people that can't make the chat, we do appreciate all the likes and support that I hear, after you guys watch the program on the replay. Big shout out to Big Fat Eli from Twitter, who basically catches this on the replay from Israel. So shout out to Eli, man. I appreciate the kind words you had for me there, and I'm glad that you at least get to catch it. If you can't be here live, because I know the time zones are rough for people, we appreciate the support after the fact. So shout out there. Pong Soul, what's going on, brother? Like I said, Jesse's here. Jesse Darby, Dr. Dinglet, Gander Lad Marlesco, your boy Matty P. All right, let's get this show going. Let's move right along, guys. Well, no, Titan, you didn't have a chance to give your two thoughts.
No, I did.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Did I start with you? I thought I started with Boom. All right. So I think from the chat, it looks like most people like the Xbox, and that doesn't really surprise me because, again, I think most people in the chat and the people on the panel are predominantly Xbox people. So I think that's a little bit skewed. I personally think the PlayStation 5 is more attractive. And I'm saying that because it does look a bit futuristic. It's more interesting, to say the least. Whereas I find the Xbox Series X, while it's cool and I applaud the amazing technical achievement that they made with that console, it's just so plain. Again, it's PC Tower plain, and to some people that's great. For me, it's just like, you know what I mean? What's going on, Ron Hale? Thanks for being here, brother. Crazy good dude. You know what I'm saying, guys? Like, for me, it's just and the controller too. Obviously, they had made a lot of improvements to the DualSense as opposed to the Xbox, which, at first glance, most people can't tell that it's a new controller, but it is. I mean, obviously, you put it in your hand to feel. They say it feels even better. They keep refining perfection, and I get that, right? But at first glance, it's hard to tell. So, kudos on Sony for constantly tweaking their stuff too, and I like it. But at the end of the day, looks of a console are the least important factor. It is about efficiency. It seems like how fast it boots, how quiet it runs, and ultimately how good the games look on your said television is the biggest thing overall, right? I mean, most of us, like I said, my Gears of War Xbox One X looks amazing, but how often do you really sit there and look at it? Other than the odd guy will come over to my house and go, holy shit, dude, what kind of Xbox is that? Never seen that one before. You're like, that's a special edition Gears. And then they're like, holy fuck, that thing is cool, man. Like, wow, look at the graphics on there. And that is a really cool custom, by the way. So that is some, what do you call Xbox Pope kind of shit right there with that one.
Yeah. Noof, I'm glad you brought up, like, what displays best on your screen or whatever you're watching on. And because today I saw on Twitter someone post, and I believe they were an Xbox fan as well, which really took me by surprise, because they said 1440p and native 4K, they're pretty much the same thing. Well, I
don't think so.
Cannot agree with that whatsoever. Like, I just left that alone. I left that post alone. That's one of those things that I have nothing good to say, so I'm not going to say anything at all. Yeah. So I left that alone because, like, all right, like, do you know how many how many more pixels that is? Like, just simple and.
I don't debate with 720 versus 1080p and how that went.
We've been doing it since this whole damn thing began, right? Since gaming began. It's the reason why we still don't play on core NESs, like the Nintendo Entertainment. Everything grows and grows and gets better and better and better, and of course it matters. Everything matters. Everything from the controller and whatever you prefer. That's all on you. That's your preference. So good on you if you like the PlayStation over the Xbox. But when we disagree, let's just agree to disagree sometimes.
Totally. All right, well, let's move on to another topic, and this is one that has disappointed many. This is becoming a trend, a blatant trend for our industry. And it's not necessarily a good one. In some ways, yes, it does work out, but in some ways, it does not. We don't always see the fruits of the labor and stuff like that. And we're talking about game delays. And then recently, obviously, one of the big ones was Cyberpunk 2077 delayed again till December. For a lot of us now, it's to the point now where you're starting to get agitated because you're buying these new consoles and you want that shiny new game to come out somewhere alongside of those, but everything's just pushed back, and you're wondering, like, what is going on when they set these targets? Is it getting used to the game engines? Is it the teams are incompetent? Is it COVID? Is it a mix of everything? We don't really know. But it looks like Far Cry 6 and Rainbow Six Quarantine delayed past March of 2021. They weren't coming out till next year anyway. So this isn't like, oh my God, I won't have this game for Christmas. But the bottom line is it's more delays, and it's starting to become very frequent. There's explanations. I took this article from GameSpot. And they said earlier this year we introduced Far Cry 6, the most ambitious game in the series to date. We promised an immersive fantasy to lead the modern day guerrilla revolution set in a rich, exotic world. Blah 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 blah. We know you're all anxious to get your hands on Far Cry 6. We want you to know that we've been given more time to allow and make this game. You aspire and play while focusing on the well-beings of our team in unprecedented global context. So I'm assuming they're meaning that has something to do with COVID, and totally understandable. We're in unprecedented times. Studios are obviously, we all know that it's much harder to work with people when you got to do it via email and phone call, and you can't see the product firsthand, and you got people learning tech, and you're trying to do it for new consoles. There's a lot of variables. So we cut them some slack there, but it is just disappointing. And I'll let any one of you guys, whoever wants to jump in on this one, take the floor. I don't think I need to say any more than this. It's just disappointing. It's another game. We're going to have to wait a bit longer. Who wants to speak about the game? And you can speak in a general senses too, like what games you've been really disappointed that have been pushed back,
Well, I'll jump in real quick, and I'll keep it short. Here's the thing: we have to understand that the way games are made are with a team that works together on a daily basis. With COVID being, us dealing with this now for almost a year, we're closing in on a year of this nightmare. Teams have had to adapt and learn to work remotely. And I got news for you. This goes across the industries, not just gaming. This is talking about movies, we're talking about Broadway, you name it. It's just not the same. So unfortunately, games that would normally take 3 years of development are probably going to take 5, potentially more, because now granted, we have gotten to a space where people are starting to work together. There's still social distancing, and they're wearing masks and gloves and washing their hands and doing temperature checks and trying to be safe, but it's not the same, because on the back of your mind, you got to remember, folks, video game makers are human beings, right? They have families, they have worries, and just imagine this for a second, folks. So let's just take the developer and put him or her as, let's step in their shoes for a second, right? They chose a craft that they enjoy doing, which is making games, making adventures that they only see in their mind, and somehow or another they get it to be on the consoles that we enjoy. But in the back of their minds, on top of the deadlines, trying to get these games out on time, they're still, man, am I going to get sick? And if I'm not sick, or if I bring it home, is my child going to get sick? Is my husband? Is my grandmother? Is my mom? And there is a tremendous amount of anxiety that goes on that people completely, I understand it. F this, we just want our game. Yeah, well, I get it. I hear you. But we have to realize that game delays, I got news for you folks. We are lucky to be getting the games that we're getting this year because they were in development years before COVID. I am telling you, next year has the potential to be barren because they're just not going to be done with the games. I don't know. I mean, listen. I'm sure. Am I disappointed that a game gets delayed? Absolutely. Like Halo was a crushing blow for Microsoft, but they can pivot and recover. How? Well, November 15th of 2021 marks the 20th anniversary. So if it takes that long to get Infinite out, that's fine because they can make it a giant worldwide celebration celebrating the Master Chief of 20 years.
Yeah.
Well, like I said earlier, the delays to me are getting like egregious at this point. And I'm also torn because as a teacher, like I've taught online classes as well as in person this year, and I'm absolutely stunned at some of these students, the absolute 180-degree turn that some of them make from being online only to being in school at the building. And I'm so proud of them for that. Like some are just, not cut out for online. There's so that kind of goes into just, I think, production. I think that's the key word because you're just not going to get as much production from not working in the building, right? And that's the biggest thing. And the biggest offense for me is that when a game goes gold, a delay. Like a delay is a delay, but a game going gold should guarantee that there are no more delays. All right. Otherwise, it's not gold. That's all I got to say about that.
Well, it's true. And, maybe Crispy can elaborate too. Like, Crispy, you said that you're a boss at your job. And I think it's evident because we all know that when you're at a job and you don't have, say, your supervisor or your bosses around, there tends to be a lot more tardiness. There tends to be a lot less focus. I'm speaking generally. I'm not saying in every workplace, but from the majority that I've ever worked in, that is a fact. That when the bosses aren't around, people aren't really pushing the envelope. They're not going flat out. People are taking extra smoke break, extra piss breaks, just goofing around. And I don't think it's any different in a video game. So like say you got all these guys are all at home in their house, right? And they got their computer, sure, and they're getting messages. Are you telling me that guy's sitting down because they're now in the comfort of their own home where they have their bed, they have their own meals, and they have their kids, and they have their wives, and they have their girlfriends, and whatever else, that you're going to tell me that honestly you can think that every one of these guys for every studio is sitting there going, yeah, I'm on the clock today, dear, don't disturb me. I cannot blink until at least 12 o'clock tonight. No, I do not think so. And they're just human. It's human nature. But that's what I think. And Crispy, maybe you can kind of elaborate on that.
Well, I mean, you got to realize, like, I called, a few people leaving Gears, and all I saw was Mantinis and stuff. So,
right,
and that's me like being observant. Okay. And right now we got to go past the observance. We have to understand that, you want the sexy girl on the other side. You got to work for it. So, like Cyberpunk. Yeah, you got a lot going on. Like if you have not watched Nightwire at least once or twice, you don't even understand what they're trying to do with this game. You really don't.
Yeah.
They are trying to like make this the most immersive experience ever devised. And I always say, and I've said this before, blame Stadia because they're trying to release it on Stadia.
Yeah.
Blame that because the architecture involved of all these consoles has already been there for a while. They've been developing on the older consoles for a long time. So there's only one outlier, and that's Stadia. And the beauty of CD Projekt Red is like, we're not going to just release on one area that is like going to, push this game to the limits. No, we want to release to everybody because we promised that. And you go to Stadia, and Stadia is not based off of console architecture. It's based off of pure streaming. A lot of people don't understand that. So it's based off whatever their servers are capable of outputting. And it's wild that people are mad about this. But for me, as a gamer, I want them to bring out the best product for everyone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not just me. Like, yeah, maybe there's 10 people playing on Stadia. I don't know. You know what I mean? But I also want to see that sexy girl at the end of the tunnel. I'd be like, yeah, that's my girl now. You know what I mean? So, I mean, Cyberpunk is like, dude, I'm not into first-person shooters. Yes, I played a lot of Fallout, stuff like that, and like mostly in first person, if not always in first person. You know, I have certain enjoyment, and this seems like an immersive experience that they're trying to bring to you. And it's troubling that they went gold, but at the same time, Last of Us 2 went gold,
right,
and then delayed too. So Last of Us 2 is hit or miss. I don't feel we're gonna have the same feelings about Cyberpunk as long as the game is not broken when you play it. And the problem they have is they're going across so many different consoles, platforms, whatever you want to call it. It's crazy that they're trying to do it, but I believe they're all in trying to make as best experience possible for every single person that's playing their game. And that means something to me. It does.
You know, this is my first time even hearing about Rainbow Six Quarantine. So there's that. I mean, is this a new game or is this essentially a DLC? It's new?
Yeah, it's new.
All right.
It's a Rainbow Six team going up against the COVID virus.
Pretty much, yeah.
And every time somebody's exposed, they multiply.
It's sad the first time you hear about a game is that it's being delayed.
No, but you're totally right. And even Stu in the chat, I'd rather CD Projekt Red find those bugs before launch. A game-breaking one, especially those ones that cause your game to crash or lose your save files and stuff. These games are not small games; they're massive games. They're not just single-player games. And a lot of them are multi-plat, so they do have to work on multiple platforms. And the bigger the game gets, the bigger in scope every game gets, the harder it gets for every developer to nail those bugs, like I said, because they do have to make sure that they port it well for this majority of platforms. So I think that's where they are. And I think we're all in agreement. We all think that delays suck, but we understand why they're there. We understand that gaming today is far more complex than it was 10 years ago. Hardware is far more complex. There's so many things that can go wrong. We see that even when they think the games are good. You look a week later, you see insane bugs, and some are just hilarious and some are actually bad. And we don't mind the hilarious ones too much, but case in point, Assassin's Creed Unity, when it came out, all the crazy ones we saw there, so on and so forth. But when they start breaking games, that's different. And I think we all can all agree that we do have enough games to play. Nobody's out there like if you're one of those guys that say, yeah, you played everything and you're desperately waiting for that next game, then dude, you have got way too much time on your hands, because last person everybody I talked to, the backlogs are massive. So we got enough to keep us going, especially your multi-console owners. There's no shortage of things to play. So we're going to cut them some, and again, COVID really is making things very tough for everybody, and that's not just gaming, it's manufacturing. All businesses are definitely freaking having a harder time adjusting with this at every level. So yeah man, anybody, if you want to come cyber, man, I got a room open for you, brother. Come up here, I'll take you in. You're always welcome in my house. Froggy T Right, what's up, brother? Satius, how you doing, man? Thanks for being here. Red Raven, who else jumped in here? Blue Moon FC, Dave Folker, what's going on, Dave? He says, yeah, almost definitely these people's kids and wives and husbands are not letting them work how they should be working. Well, you can definitely see how that could come into play. Prophet, what's going on? We meet again. Let's keep the show rolling, guys. Great discussion. So yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, Cyber asked in the chat way earlier, and I said I was going to try to get to it. Yep. He asked something about what was the positives or something about something like that about getting these consoles day one. And for me, I got to say it's the multi-plats. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of the extremists out there, they they point to, Xbox has no first party games on day one, well, there's all these other multi-plats that we're going to get to enjoy, right? Like Boom's going to be enjoying Legion, right? There's, and shortly after, there's the two other big open worlds, Cyberpunk and Valhalla. Valhalla still comes out on release day. So like Valhalla is the one I'm looking most forward to. But so it's playing that on a next gen system, I gotta say, would be my answer to that, Cyber. And I talked to these guys in the pregame about it, and I said the only reason I haven't bought NHL 21 right now because I am impressed with what they've shown of NHL 21 so far. Whether you agree or disagree with me, that's on, whatever. But I like the changes that they made, at least the way they came across with it. And I would have bought that game if they have a next generation version of that game, but they do not. So it's like, for me, when I get this next generation content, when I get my Series X, I want to play next gen games on it. And you know what? There's enough game time, I would say, of Valhalla as well as Cyberpunk. And the only reason I haven't bought Legion right now is because I think those other two games, if I buy 3 games, there's no way I'm finishing all of them. That's just me. All right. So I'm kind of being a realist with myself on that. So like I know I'm going to have open world fatigue with just those 2 games alone.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just people are forgetting about all these multi-plats and these people that just want to stick it to Microsoft or they want to stick it to PlayStation for having these terrible, launch lineups for something that these companies can't even really control. Like how can they control is Microsoft literally going to go to 343 and say, release Halo? I don't give a damn what it looks like. Release it on release day. Like who would do that? No.
And they're smart enough to know if they release it in the state it's in, it would have taken way more slack and it would
have been destroyed, dude. It could have killed the franchise, folks. Let's call a spade here. Listen, I've said this before about Halo Infinite and I'll say it again. If you look at the story from what we are hearing, right, from what we've seen, the Banished are going to be the main antagonists, right? That's a big deal. That's a big deal because that's carrying over from Halo Wars. It's carrying over from the books. Atriox is a badass. The gameplay looked fantastic.
The gameplay looks great.
Right?
Yeah,
The gameplay looks great. The issue that many people had is that for even as an open world Halo game, which is new to the franchise, the game just did not look next generation. So what they need to do is spend time retuning this engine and making the game look like a next generation Halo. If they can do that, and I believe that they can, because from what we're hearing, it's all hands on deck, meaning that even people from the Coalition, from the Initiative, from Playground Games, they're coming over. They're sending some of their best talent over to 343 to get this game done. This is why you've seen so many changes, people leaving the studios. And this is why, thank God, the original creator is back for Halo. So I think that, listen, with all of the trials and tribulations we have seen, I really believe that 343 and more so Microsoft is going to make sure that when this game releases, it is going to be epic. I will stand on this hill and die on it.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, you're totally right.
And I'll tell you this right now, Boom. The best thing about Halo Infinite, I'm calling it right now, it's going to be the story. Mark my words right now. The story will be, it's going to be what you take away from, it's going to be what you remember about this game. It's not going to be the graphics. Yes, they're delaying it, in part because of that. And those will get better, but that's not what you're going to remember from Halo Infinite. You're not going to be blown away by its graphics. They're going to get better, but it's not going to blow you away. Nothing else that I've seen from this game that they've showed has blown me away. But you know what? When that big mug on, I can't remember his name. Atriox's whatever lieutenant or whatever.
Lieutenant, yeah.
When that dude came, all right. Granted, the graphics weren't good on his faces and that, but that's going to get better. But what he was saying, if you listen to the words he was saying, I was impressed because, I actually felt like, wow, like, all right, this is getting good right here. And that's the best thing I took away from what they've shown on that.
Well, Titan, I'll send you a DualSense controller for Christmas and your wife can blow you away all night.
I don't need no DualSense for that, Noof.
Yeah, my DualSenses are called left nut, right nut. Oh, shit. All right, guys, we're about almost at the midway point now. I think it's time to get in. Before we get back to some more serious topics at hand, it is that time to Ask Arnold. We'll give the panel and our guests a chance to ask some of the first questions. We did have one in the chat. This one comes from Jesse Darby, who says, Arnold, what do you think of Boom? But first of all, I want to tell you that I really love Mr. Boomstick. He's had me on the show numerous times, and it's always an honor to be there, okay? And with Mr. Boomstick, he's incredible. He doesn't have to go out there and bang the maid because the dude has got it made. He's got a great wife. He's got all the gaming consoles. He's got everything he needs. He's a retired policeman. He's making great progress, and he's got lots of followers, which is more than I can say for Noof Nukem. His followers are leaving him by the minute because they can't stand the fact that he spews so much bullshit and he farts all the time and they can't handle it. There you go.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Arnold. I appreciate that. Very, very, very kind words.
Kind words and aid. All right. Any more questions for Arnold? We'll do a 4 or 5, maybe less. Oh, we got Doggy Dog in the chat. Hey, Arnold, what is your favorite alcoholic beverage? Oh, man, God, this is a great question. I drink a lot of stuff. You know me, I'm a big cigar fan. I love the cigars. They're great. But every once in a while, I love a stiff whiskey. In my age, it's very hard to get anything stiff anymore. So I like to have the whiskey, and I sit back with a couple of fucking donkeys. I like to call them assholes. And I tell them, get the fuck out of the house. I'm going to sit there with my whiskey. You can come join me, or you can piss off. Red Raven, what is your favorite Disney movie? Oh my God, this is a great question. I really haven't watched a Disney movie in a very long time, but I would have to say, I don't know. That's a really great question. I haven't really thought that much about it, but perhaps I like a movie like Aladdin, because you get 3 wishes, and I can always think of what I wish for, and that is I wish that I was younger again, and my boobs didn't sag, and I wish that, and I wish that Sylvester Stallone, that he would just piss off already, because he's so old that I hope he doesn't invite me for Expendables 4. I told him, I said, Sly, why did you just call this the Dependables 4? Well, I'll wear dependable diapers.
Man.
Any more questions?
I got one for you. I can't think of the real word, so I'm just gonna have to go cheap on this one. Arnie, what is your goal in the next generation, or what is your primary what's your goal? I can't think of your primary. What is it? For a machine?
Honestly, I'm old now. I'm not very young anymore. I'm not going to live to see the next generation. I'm going to be kaput. I'm going to be in the ground. So we need the next generation of little Arnies coming on up through. So I want to see all you kids out there. And, obviously steroids are frowned upon. So eat lots of Cheerios and pump your barbells. I don't care. Okay. Pick up your cat. Stretch it, bunch press it, do whatever you gotta do, but make sure that you put some muscle on your bones. I'm tired of the little fatties and the little skinny kids. You got to get some muscle out there. Go and do something. Be productive with your lives, and that's what you want to do. As far as me, I'm going to be dead, but hopefully the exoskeleton will live on. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get that. What's his name? The guy who makes the Tesla cars. I've been talking with him, and I want him to put my brain power inside of a T800, and I'm going to just have remote control that bitch. It'll be like self AI, and it'll be going around the house and be like, "Get me some fucking whiskey and a cigar."
There you go. Cheerios brought to you by Arnold himself.
Mm-hmm.
Last one. Let's take one more. Anyone else?
Yeah, Arnold, I got a question for you. Obviously you're a big workout guy, right? And I know that you're not as buff as you once were, but you're still in good shape. When you have a cheat day, what is your go-to food?
Oh man, you got to look. There's so many great things. I mean, one, I'm a very sucker for cheesecake. I mean, how the hell can anybody not like cheesecake? Cheesecake is great. I mean, I could eat cheesecake on a hamburger. I love it. It's so good. By the way, potato chips. You gotta love that raw salty crunch. You know what I mean? I love the raw salty crunch. I don't like raw salty cunts. That's either stay out there.
Oh my god! What you sniffing, Arnie? There you go.
Hey, toe chains, what's going on? At least it's toe chains and not camel toe. We're all good. All right, good stuff, guys. Good stuff. If I didn't get to your question, guys, sorry about that. We'll try to do it on another week, so maybe just keep that again. All that good stuff, guys. And again, it's all just jokes. It's all fun. I love Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's amazing, and I'm just glad that this shit can make people laugh. And we're seeing lots of people just keeling over in the chat. So must have struck a nerve. Good stuff. Let's move the show along. Great questions too, by the way. Some real fun stuff there. I appreciate that. So let's get into more stuff here. Let's see here. Let's talk about one I heard Boomstick and company talking about today at Primetime Gaming. Sorry, it was last night. Sorry, not today. But on Primetime Gaming, you were talking about the PlayStation 5 custom faceplates. There is talks that yes, you'll be able to switch them out, but apparently they've been canceling orders after Sony threatened some legal action on them. So whoever knows the most on this situation, you can have the floor. I'll come back to chime in on it. I think it's a little bit seedy and dirty. Like who really cares? But maybe Boomstick, you'd like to carry off on this where we're at.
Yeah, the name of the company was, and again, I have to somewhat side with both. Sony is a big conglomerate, right? And if they want to, they can bury you in lawyers, and you'll never get anything done. And that's what apparently was happening here. The name of the company that was making these custom plates were PlateStation5.com. Now, obviously, I understand, they were using this pun to generate excitement to be making these plates for the PlayStation 5, and obviously you're getting close to infringing on copyrights, and that's exactly what they were charged with. They were immediately handed a cease and desist order by Sony's and their lawyers, and they thought that if they changed the names, I think it was customizemyplates.com, that Sony would back off. Well, it turns out that Sony didn't back off, and they hand them a second one, threatening that if they continued selling these plates anywhere in the world, any country, they would find themselves in court. That was the wording. And hearing I would imagine the owner of the company, he equated that the company did their due diligence, though he didn't confirm exactly what that due diligence was. And he says that they were satisfied with the information that they had because Sony had a patent that hadn't gotten passed yet for these plates. Obviously they I mean, there's a market for these things, and in a big way. And I think they were selling these custom plates for $40, which is not bad. The issue that I had with it, I mean, obviously, you never like to see the little guy lose, and that's the truth. But you also have to follow the rules, and obviously, they cut some corners when they probably shouldn't have, and they put themselves in a bit of a bind. Here's my problem with it, though. As excited as I am to see what Sony will do with their official plates, meaning that we'll see potentially a God of War 2 one, or an Uncharted 5, or Horizon, the Forbidden West, or something, something to one of the games that I'm excited for. Maybe a new Spider-Man. Instead of actually going out and spending $500 on a new console, you can just buy these plates and you're good to go. My issue and my concern, it was one of my main concerns last night, was what if Sony does something egregious and overcharges for these plates, maybe $100 per pair?
That's exactly what Spider-Man just said.
Right. So if they're the only one in town making these things, they could logistically charge you whatever they want, and no one's going to challenge them. I mean, I would, because I wouldn't buy them. But I'm just saying that, they would logistically have cornered the market. And I don't know if they're allowed to do that. I mean, we see third-party controllers and wires and all kinds of things. So why not plates? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that's about. But that was the crux of it. And the company basically has now converted from making plates to making, the stickers to go over the PlayStation 5 plate that you currently have. Some of the colors they had were really nice. A lot of people bought the black one because people want the black PlayStation as opposed to the Stormtrooper white, which I happen to actually like, to be honest with you. I saw a nice red one that reminded me of God of War. It had a real nice deep dark red. I thought that was pretty cool. And the price was great. $40 for the pair of plates is not bad.
Keep in mind, people have been paying nearly $100 for Nintendo Labo, which is freaking cardboard. So.
Yeah, there you go. So, and again, my major concern here is if Sony corners the market, what are they going to charge?
I think they're going to do something totally different. I think personally, they're saying, okay, it's our proprietary, that's our console, basically, like an easy way to say it. So what they're going to do is they're going to use those plates as making margin money. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're going to give you a custom console at full price. And all they do is replace the plates. So this is Sony at its finest. You have to understand, like, I used to see them as like this company that was just amazing. You know what I mean? And now I see them as, we got to make money wherever we can, hand over fist. And it's pretty sad at this point because their motto was for the players and play has no limits. Well, guess what? If you're going to stifle creativity on a third party's front, when you made the console clearly with plates that you can remove and add on, that's a you problem. That's not ours. So I don't see the worth in it anymore at this point. Like, it's like, yes, what that company did was great. It actually looked amazing. Okay. But do you really think that they're not going to try to capitalize on your dollar? I mean, come on. So I have a problem with how they're approaching it. You made this console the way it is. You made them to be removable. That's your fault. Yes, you can license it to that company or many other companies. And it's sad that, they look at it like that. And like, even the tweets that came out from what that company made are gone. Okay? Like, how many times has a person just, made a rendering on top of a console, like Pope, for instance, and nothing happens but praise. And instead of getting, trashed on by the company itself, I'm hearing that he's talking with them. Okay? Yeah. Embrace creativity. People have a creative genius to them. And they might be one single person that is not on your radar, and they become something special. And I feel like, those renderings that I saw of what they could make of these plates was actually pretty enthusiastic, pretty incredible. It was like that girl that you saw across the room, and you're like, man, she looked good. And you got closer, and you're like, man, she looks even better. What's going on here? Like. And why stifle that? Why stifle what people feel about that? It's just it's incoherent.
Yeah. And it looks like these things are easy to remove. Am I correct? Like, based on the videos that we've seen, this doesn't take like tools to get them off. It's kind of like a couple of presses, right?
You just basically have to pull up on one corner and it will pop off.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, if it was one of those things where it would be very complex and Sony could see a problem too with, say, if it was a complex method of getting them off, and then third party, sometimes with third party aftermarket stuff, it tends to be manufactured a little differently, and it could potentially break your system, and then you'd have all these people like, my system was broken, blaming it on them.
If you want to replace the SSD or add to it, you have to take it off anyway. So it's completely null and void. Like, what they're doing is just a money grab, and I guarantee, like, they're going to come out with like a Spider-Man Miles Morales, like, a custom console, and basically they just replace the faceplates, and that's it. And they're going to charge you full price, if not more.
Well, I got to give a shout out to Wild Bates out there listening to the show while working on diesels. I'm glad you're enjoying the show, buddy, and I hope to see more. But as far as these custom faceplates go, it seems like a non-issue to me for the most part. I'm surprised how much people get away with copyright laws, in my opinion. I researched that a lot when I made my channel because I parodied songs, right? So there's a lot that goes into that, and I'm surprised how much people actually get away with on that. However, a plastic plate should never cost more than $20, in my opinion. Because to me, I think of I think it was Chris Rock in his early days when he used to have that character. He used to say $40. Good Lord, that's a lot of money. And then he used to say, I'll tell you what, I'll give you $2 and you give me a piece of plastic and a spray can. He used to do that. I get that mental image.
Well, that spray can is worth more than what you talking about.
But like, because to me, like, it costs what, $1 to create? Like, we're talking about a simple piece of plastic here that's not even done. It doesn't even have to be like perfectly flat or anything. This thing is like wobbly. So if they were smart, if PlayStation was smart, they should take a page out of the Xbox book and do with what Xbox does with its design lab. PlayStation should cut and paste that design lab onto their faceplates,
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and also have, other custom game designs, to get more depth or whatever, but that's the way they should handle this. And as far as the people trying to, because people try to make money wherever they can, and I understand that, but I also see the Sony side of this, like there's a line drawn somewhere, and you just can't create something
Well, in due time, it's highly likely that Sony will capitalize on this one way. They'll either make their own, or they'll get a third party to do it, and they'll give them the exclusive licensing. And those parties, whether it be PDP or whoever that makes accessories and controllers, they will get in on the action. Mad Catz made everything for everybody back in the day, and they'll get that license. And then, of course, Sony will get profiteering because they'll get like God of War faceplates created by those people and their artists, so it's kind of a win-win. Ultimately, I'm cool with it, and I think it's an amazing thing for PlayStation as long as they price them right. Because personally, 50 would be my maximum that I'd pay, and that would depend on the content. Like, I wouldn't pay 50 for anything. It would probably be a game that I really, really like. I think up here in Canada, when the 360 faceplates came out, I think they retailed generally for $19.99, if I'm correct. Somewhere along that line. They weren't drastically expensive. Then there was a lot of them. They're very cool. I had the Gears of War faceplate on my 360, and it just made that thing look amazing. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's a cool idea, and like I said, hopefully they can get it all straightened out. Yeah. All righty. Any more further thoughts on that particular thing, or shall we move over to the bowls discussion?
Let's move on.
All right, we got another light topic to get into just before we get into In the Next Generation, and that is a legend passed away this past week. It's been a bad year in 2020 when it seems like everybody you knew and loved from the movie industries and TV, people are just passing away. We lost Black Panther a while ago, and now we lose, Sean Connery, the guy that was, synonymous with James Bond for many generations, and to many fans is still the definitive James Bond, whether you agree or disagree. I have my opinion on that, but, Sean Connery, he was in a lot of beloved movies. He had a distinctive voice, his Scottish charm, He was a heartthrob for women around the world, maybe even some men too. And like I said, seemed like it was a pretty cool actor. A lot of people liked him. So rest in peace to Sir Sean Connery. Yes, because he was knighted a couple of years back.
Yep.
So how do you guys feel about me losing this icon this year? What was maybe your favorite role? Maybe your favorite James Bond movie? And I'd love to hear from that. Yes, he was in Highlander. Remember that one? He was 90 years old when he passed this a couple days ago there. So he was definitely getting up in his years. We hadn't seen him for a while. He retired from acting, I think, probably about 10 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, no, it might be longer. His last film, from what I understand, was League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which was one of my favorite roles for him. I thought he was that was a fantastic film. I'd love to see them remake it. And of course, obviously, he's not going to be a part of it, but that's and what I mean. Obviously, you can go back to any of the James Bond films, and there's so many that he was in, and they were great. For me, one of my favorite roles is when he played Indiana Jones' father. That's probably one of my favorite roles, right alongside League of Extraordinary Gentlemen for me. Yeah, it's sad. He was 90. He did live a very, very long life. I think that he was very dapper and he gave fans of James Bond and all of his films something to really look forward to. I don't know how many movies he's starred in, but it's got to be up 500-600 films over the course of his career. So yes, of course, it's sad that he passed away, but I think that he left a legacy that is not going to be touched by anybody.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite James Bond movie from his? Because I know obviously that he was probably most well known for his Bond role.
I mean, I'd have to look at the list.
Goldfinger, Octopussy.
Of course, you go with that one.
It's got to be Octopussy. Come on.
Dr. No was a good one too.
Dr.
No was a good one. I'd actually have to look at the list because I grew up with watching him as James Bond, but he wasn't really my James Bond. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'd have to come back to that and give you an answer. I'm gonna look up at the.
Yeah, that's all good. It's all good. Well, like I said, he's been in a lot of great movies. When you think about it, I remember The Rock with Nicolas Cage and The Untouchables and The Hunt for Red October. I wish I could do his accent. It was pretty cool. Be like, go get underneath the ship. I don't know. I can't do a Sean Connery. I wish I could, but yeah. So it was a lot of good ones. The James Bond ones. Bridge 2 so far. Yeah, he was in, like I said, Highlander. People remember that. Probably some people don't, but that was a great movie back in its day. And I agree with Boomstick. I loved him when he played Indiana Jones Sr. Just the way he paid off that campy character in that movie was just amazing, and it was fun. Fun for sure.
Well, I'm going to be able to do a better voice impression than you. That's for sure.
That you did. That was pretty good.
Yeah, my favorite movie by Sean Connery was definitely The Hunt for Red October, and someone said it in the chat. Pong Soul said it in the chat. But yeah, being a Samaritan myself, I'm kind of biased in that opinion, but it's awesome that that someone else shares that view. But yeah, he was an awesome actor with the, I think, like one of the best and most amazing and unique voices in the acting business. He's definitely top, like. You start to emulate his voice, and out of how many people are in this world, you're referring to Sean Connery. It's that unique. Not there's only how many people that you can even do that with. You can do it with Sylvester Stallone, maybe. Right. You can definitely do it with Arnold, but that's the tier he was at, and that's hard to get to. Also, he never had any, at least I never knew of any, blatant shenanigans going down with them or anything like a lot of actors do, and how they get caught up in life and drugs and what have you. I never heard of anything negative about the guy. So and living that actor life, I think let me know if you have, because I sure haven't. But living that actor life, that's another impressive thing in my opinion.
Yeah, no doubt. How about you, Crispy? Any fond memories at all or anything about Mr. Sean Connery?
Sean Connery, yes. Yeah, I mean, the guy was just incredible. He's done so many great movies. I mean, Boom said League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I mean, my God, great movie. Like, but you got to appreciate what he does in it more than anybody else. And my favorite movie from him all time is The Rock. Made Nicolas Cage look like a wuss. A lot of people don't realize that. And he was the boss of that movie. I mean, he was epic in that. If you're going to the Bond movies, it is definitely Goldfinger. Pussy Galore. How can you forget her and his interaction with her? Come on, he's an epic person. He lived to a ripe old age of 90, and God bless his soul. He is still going to have movies that I will still watch to this day, and probably go to my girlfriend's son and be like, hey, you got to watch this when he's old enough. especially Goldfinger. I'm sorry, like it's a little racy for some of the youngins. So just saying. So he is James Bond. James Bond. Yes. And that's what it is. And also The Rock, it gave me those Bond-esque moments. You know what I mean? And that's what I grew up, being 32 years old. That's the Sean Connery I know. So he's just an epic person, and God rest his soul.
There you have it. Well, rest in peace, Sean Connery, another legend gone. Let's one more question. We'll get into Watch Dogs Legion drop this week. A highly anticipated title from Ubisoft. If you happen to be a Watch Dogs fan, I think this one had a lot of people excited. However, I was not a big fan of the original game and basically completely bypassed number 2 and have had little to next to no intrigue, I guess, for this one. Although maybe I'll check it out down the road, but right now it is just not on my radar. Let's talk to the panel and see where it is on their radar. And again, it's open floor in this one. Whoever wants to jump in first. I know, Boom, I think you wanted to nail off some points with Watch Dogs Legion. IGN, I think, gave it an 8 out of 10, which is a respectable and good score. Do you think it might live up to that? How are you enjoying the game from what you've played of it so far?
Oh, I'm absolutely loving it, but that's because I really adore the Ubisoft formula. That's number one. That's one of my favorite developers this entire generation. I have spent thousands upon thousands of hours playing their games, from The Division to the Assassin's Creed to Ghost Recon, both of them. Unfortunately, we didn't get a Splinter Cell. Hopefully, that'll change in the next generation. But Watch Dogs 1, I got halfway through the game, and Aiden Pierce, who was the main protagonist, he just was a little whiny. I just never finished it, and that's a shame because I know that the game did have a pretty good story. But 2, Watch Dogs 2, man, I got every achievement in that game. I absolutely fell in love with the character. The main protagonist was absolutely amazing to use. I have a statue literally above where I'm sitting, and I thought he was fantastic. I thought the surrounding cast was great. I thought the tech was fantastic. Lots to do in that game. So then here's Watch Dogs Legions. The game had a couple of delays, quite a few delays as a matter of fact, but man, they really have outdone themselves. And I mean that in the best way possible. I mean, one of the things that we are used to as gamers is when you buy a game, said protagonist that you start the game with is usually who you are for the remainder of the game. And it's something that has been completely turned on its head for Watchdog Legions, because obviously there are 9 million characters in the game, and you can be anyone. Literally, you can be anyone. Now, one of the interesting, and I didn't risk it because I just enjoy playing games. I don't want the stress of, holy shit, I just lost a character that I built up for 70 hours to get killed. There is permadeath in this game. So,
really?
Yeah, there's permadeath. So if you lose a character, that character is dead. Now you can turn it off, which I did. I turned it off. I'm not gonna front. I'm not gonna sit here and lie.
We've all done that, Boom.
Yeah, I turned off. Yeah, no. So here's the thing: the character, because when you start the game, there is a choice of, I think it's 15 or 18 different characters, male, female, right? So you pick your character, you look at their characteristics. Each one has their own, styles, their own weaknesses, their own advantages. So the guy I picked was like a guy that was on the dark web. And it wasn't really a fighter, but he had great tech skills. So I was like, okay, I like the way he looks. So I started playing with him for like the first maybe 3 or 4 hours. And I'm like, okay, this kind of feels like Watch Dogs. But then they kind of throw things at you where you have to, some missions, you have to recruit so-and-so to DedSec, which of course is the group that you work with. And then you are forced into using other characters for other missions. And I'm going to be honest with you. At first I was like, man, I don't like using this, like for instance, I had to acquire a construction worker. I had to go to a site and I had to talk to a few people, and I had to I picked this female construction worker, and I liked her characteristics. So one of the missions had me using her to go to a construction site to get some like documents, whatever, because she's, she'll be undercover. And I was like, man, I don't know if I'm using this chick, but it turns out she's a badass and she beats down people with the big wrench. So I thought it was dope. Now I'm using some chick that I took a picture and I posted it on Twitter that has she looks like a fox because she's wearing like a fox mask. And she's total badass. And I'm like, man, I'm really getting used to using all these different characters. So now I started recruiting people. I haven't found the old lady yet. I can't wait to get her. Because if you've seen in some of the commercials, they have a 90-year-old lady that's just tasering the shit out of people. And there are a lot of achievements that you can get that are tied to what character. Like, for instance, if you get a hitman in your group, and some of the, like right now, all of my stealth takedowns are non-lethal because I use like shock stuff. But if there's an achievement, 30-point achievement that I'm trying to get, if you do it with a hitman, he chokes them out and cuts their throat. So you can go violent, you can go passive. This game is just dope. And like I said, there's so many vehicles to use. Like there's a hovercraft that's like a loader that you can use. I've been flying around the city all over the place. I haven't barely driven a car. And when I drive a car, because you're in a tech era, you have auto drive. You can literally say auto drive and just sit back and put the control down, and the shit just drives itself. It's freaking awesome, man.
That does sound pretty cool.
Oh man, dude!
You're
selling me on this game.
It's so good, dude.
Yeah,
it's
dude.
crazy, man.
Well, I already was thinking like that. Like I was like, man, this game looks really good. And this is like when it first like was shown, and I'm like, this game looks interesting as hell. Like it's something that we haven't experienced. And you know what? I mean, for Ubisoft to come out with Valhalla and Watch Dogs, and then eventually Far Cry 6. It's like, man, this is the one that I would be interested in, because look, I'm a huge Division person. Like, dude, I literally was maxed out on Division 1 for God knows how long. Division 2 didn't quite get into it because I felt like I was playing Division 1, just didn't have the levels type thing. You know what I mean? So for what they have shown and what you're saying right now is exactly up my alley, especially for a more single player experience. Like, I'm not all about, being one protagonist. And I think you had a fight in your head, Boomstick, for a second. You're like, I can't do this.
Yes,
but you know what I mean,
dude. Like I literally, again, I would have never chosen someone different unless the game made me do it. And then when I started using other characters, I was like, well, wait a second, this is kind of dope. Because what's great is that obviously it's an RPG, so you have to go. There's these green dots all over the map. And when you find them, they're usually like in security zones, and you have to get in there without obviously getting killed. And they're 10 points, and you can use these 10 points, you pile them up. And once your skill tree of all the gadgets are unlocked, no matter what character that you use, you have access to that. So you don't necessarily have to use one character and like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to re-level up. No, that's not the way it works. All of the gadgets, like I have a drone, a spider drone, you know, it just unlocks stuff. But I got a maxed out a military drone that shoots guns. It's crazy. So once you level up everything, no matter what character you use, yes, they have their special skill sets and special weapons and things. Like some hitmen have like silencers. They have real guns. Like I've only been using tasers, but you can actually kill people in this game. And depending on what you unlock, the tech is bananas, especially, and it's flawless. Going from camera to camera to camera, downloading, you buzzing someone's phone to distract them as you run by. It's crazy. It's a masterpiece, man.
So cool, dude. That sounds so
cool. I
cool.
saw a really interesting tweet that I don't think I've ever seen in social media around video games in a long time, and maybe ever. And I think this one came from a guy who was in his 60s, and he actually applauded them by saying it was very refreshing to finally play a game where like a senior citizen was actually represented in the game and you could take place. And I never really thought about that before, but he has a great point. Like he's a gamer in his 60s, and for the first time probably in any video game that I can certainly think of, you can actually play as a senior citizen and get down with your bad self and kick some butt. So
yeah,
I think that was
Shinso
really cool.
Elite says that he's using an old man that tasers people, which is pretty cool. And Xbox 448, who's in the chat, what's up, dude? He says that he has a hitman and he takes people out like John Wick. That's dope.
Well, hey, fiddly diddly, this is Cletus here, and I want to know, is there an old lady character in that game who can gum you? That's right.
Yeah, we all gotta find the old lady. It's like Where's Waldo, bro? Let's go.
Come on, let's get that old lady, and I want us to get gummed in them games. That's what I'm looking for. Let's go. They got any hillbillies in that game?
You gotta have those false teeth.
The false teeth is the best one, man. They'll tell you, because if you forget to use them, you can take them out and you can actually make cookies with them things. You can crimp your pies with your false teeth. My grandmother been doing it for years. She can never find a cookie cutter. And yes, guys, make sure you get out there this year and supports that Nintendo, okay?
Nintendo, I love it.
Nintendo. And their taters.
Keep it tender, my friends. Keep it tender.
Any more thoughts on Watch Dogs?
Yeah, you know what? Boom is just like Chris. He's really making me regret not buying this game. Like I said I was going to do. I said I was going to buy this game. But then I looked at it from like a realist point of view. And what I mean by that is I asked myself, am I going to finish this game if I buy Legion, Valhalla, and Cyberpunk? And my answer
here's the thing. I will say this that's interesting, and I have to give Ubisoft a tremendous amount of credit. Not only on the 10th when the console comes out, are you going to get Valhalla with the update for the Series X? You're getting the update for Legion as well.
Right.
So that is kind of dope. Now, originally I was going to wait, but I'm like, man, I love their stuff so much that I could not wait. So like I said, I'm enjoying it. And like I said, it definitely gets super, super high marks for me. But I want it to be clear that I'm also a huge fan of Watch Dogs 2, which this is great. I mean, the tech in here is magnificent. There's so much to use and so much technology at your fingertips. It's bananas. So I like that. And I also really, really enjoy the Ubisoft formulas. Like a lot of people don't like that. So if you don't like those two things, this game may not be for you, but it's definitely for me.
No, you know what? I had the first two Watch Dogs. I bought the first two Watch Dogs game. I beat them both. So yeah, I do love that. You know what Watch Dogs has brought so far, and so I guess other than that, my other thing you said was I love permadeath, right? And I feel like permadeath is like the absolute trial for every true gamer to either pass or fail. Okay, like you said, we've all done it. Yeah. We've all turned off the console to avoid losing a player we put countless hours into to grow. Like, let's be real, like, and doing that doesn't take away your hardcore gamer card. So let's just admit that we've all done it. So, but think about programming this game. That's why I'm saying you got to give props to Ubisoft Like, think about what it took to program this game. Like, having every single person in the game being able to recruit. That is absolutely impressive. And having them all have different, skills and abilities. Like, I may just have to break down about. I'm probably gonna buy this game, but it's probably just gonna be when I complete Cyberpunk and Valhalla. So.
Well, I will say in its defense, too, the actual ray tracing demonstration we've seen in Watch Dogs Legion looks absolutely phenomenal, too, on the Series X. So that's something to look forward to when the updates and stuff drop for the game next week. Let's give a shout out to the chat. We got some new people here. Easy Money just dropping in. What's happening? Doggy Dog, what's going on, brother? Well, he was here for a while, but thanks again, Doggy Dog. Jay Slater, Jay's in the house. We got a new person in here tonight by the name of Rick Payne. First time checking it out, all thanks to Pong Soul and a tweet that he put out. So that's how social media works, guys. Sharing is caring, and we greatly appreciate that you, at least care a little bit. Thanks a lot, guys. Blue Moon FC, what's up? Shizno, Crazy Greek Dude, Spider-Man still hanging out with us. Xbot 448, Battletoad. Easy Money's just lurking. He's lurking and jerking. Let's go. Timothy Dixon's here. What's going on, Timothy? That's right. Thanks for being here, guys. Great crew, great chat again tonight. Now it is time. I guess Watch Dogs thing is up. Go check out the game. Like I said, if you like the first two Watch Dogs, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised with the new one. If you're not, and like Boom said, maybe if you're just not a fan of the formula, because they've really been going open world with everything these days, and maybe it's not for you. I won't rule the game out. It's just not high on my radar, but that's not saying I won't ever give it a try, all that stuff. So we'll see what happens. Let's get into Titan's segment of the night, In the Next Generation.
All right, everyone. So if you haven't heard this yet, In the Next Generation, this is my version of Conan O'Brien's In the Year 2000. So this is my gaming version of that. And here we go. In the Next Generation. In the Next Generation, don't let this one scare you. But it's true, so I have to prepare you. In the Next Generation 2020, we'll have 9 sequels. And in the Next Generation... In the Next Generation, Noof does not recognize MAGG as a member of the chat.
Ooh.
In the Next Generation. In the Next Generation, Cyberpunk 2077 will release. Fear not, friends. It's coming. In the Next Generation, I promise. In the Next Generation. In the Next Generation, Xbox will start with a 2-1 lead in consoles sold over PlayStation. Yours truly and the majority of others will still not care, but we will all point and laugh as the largest goalpost move in the history of gaming happens. In the Next Generation. In the Next Generation, ponies will demand the disqualification of Xbox for beating them while they are already down and out. Be prepared to hear the word monopoly more than you've ever heard before.
Monopoly guy.
In the Next Generation! In the Next Generation, this one is for Mr. Boomstick himself. There will be another Splinter Cell game, and that is it. So, Boom, you can count on it. That's all I have for this week, and I will see you here next week here on Gaming After Dark, where it will actually be the Next Generation.
Woo! In the Next Generation with Titan Drago. Rick Payne says you guys talk about Rise, Son of Rome. Don't know. Why is there news about Rise, Son of Rome? Because I haven't heard anything. Anybody else?
Yeah, there's another one.
Yeah, there's a leak that's been Rise, Son of Rome 2 has been pitched to Microsoft. So that could potentially be something. It was a massive leak, 700 gigs worth that got out there about Ubisoft and Crytek, but more specifically Crytek. There was some talk of a Crisis Next, which is supposed to be a battle royale game. There's also a Crisis VR that was leaked. Crisis remasters for 2 and 3. But the big news was the Rise Son of Rome 2 that was pitched. I mean, I can't say more than what the leak said, but it was pitched to Microsoft, so it could potentially be something that we could see happen. I mean, the community has been asking for it. And I think that there is so much story left.
Yeah.
And it's one of those types of games that Microsoft is missing from their portfolio. It's that, adult themed, third person, over the shoulder, story driven title, and I think that protagonist has a huge arc that could be used. I mean, again, I'm not saying it's going to be the next God of War. What I'm saying is that because the Greek gods were involved and the door was left wide open for a sequel, it could easily get into the mystics of the Greek mythology. And we talked about it on the Xbox Factor podcast special edition that we did today, and the chat was eating it up. I mean, some of the names they were coming up with, like I believe it was Rise, Son of Sparta. It was a few ones that were really, really, really good, and I was like, oh my god, if that was the name of the game, I'd buy that game just on the name. So hopefully that comes to fruition. I think everyone has been asking for it, and it's funny because it's one of the games I'm going to play on my console first for backwards compatibility. I want to see what ray tracing and 60 frames could potentially look and play like on Rise, because it's still an amazing looking game.
Well, yeah, and Microsoft keeps talking about studio acquisitions, and why in the hell they haven't gone out and thrown the farm at Crytek is beyond me, unless there's some sort of, something behind the scenes we don't know about. But man, that would have been a studio I'd been, because just for their tech alone, the Cry engine, which makes incredibly amazing looking games, they obviously have some serious talent at their studios. I mean, the fact that Rise Son of Rome came out in 2013 and looks almost as good as any game that has come out in, pretty much the 7 years following that, says a testament to the type of artwork department that they have at that company. And I would be all down for Rise too. I think the first game was so good on so many levels. It had a few things wrong with it, but a very nitpicky things. It was a great game, much like the Order 1886 was also another really good game that was very similar to Rise in the fact that it had great gameplay and a cool story. It delivered graphically, but just didn't resonate and got some pretty full reviews. And again, was largely criticized for the quote unquote sort of quick time stuff, which really wasn't that big of a deal. So yeah, but hey, I don't know if you guys heard, there is a Rise porno coming out. It is called Rise, Cialis versus Viagra. Just kidding.
Well, other than the Viagra part, Boom, you to me you said the magic words, and that's Greek mythology. Any game based upon Greek mythology, I am all in. What about you guys?
Well, I know, but Titan, I got a question for you. Did you happen to see the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle DLC coming to Smite?
Smite? Oh yeah, I downloaded it today. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Are you kidding me?
Nice. I figured you might.
I almost finished your sentence. If I wasn't a little buzzed, I would have.
Turtles and Smite, interesting.
That's right. Yeah. They got Shredder as Robin, and oh my god, that is awesome. I'm like super hyped about that. I know like most of you are like, what? Smite? Shizno Elite knows what I'm talking about in the chat. There you go, Shizno.
There you go.
If you haven't played Smite, do it!
Titan went on the epic Smite rant, I think a couple of weeks ago there. It was great. What's going on, Safe Space Invader? Thanks for coming in. Late is never bad around here, man. We're glad you could be here, whether it's a minute or it's a whole show. It is appreciated. And all the people that catch the show on the replay, thank you guys so much. Make sure you hit that like, comment, and subscribe. Like I said, whether it's a thumbs down or a thumbs up, all the thumbs are greatly appreciated. So, thanks a lot for that. Let's get into one more topic or so here. I'll try to let the guys get out of here. I think we're hitting most of the topics tonight, which is incredible. This one is sort of a big topic. Some guys have touched on it. I haven't had a chance to really get into it because it was a couple of days back, but obviously, our podcasts, run in between some of the news that breaks. This one is a little bit disturbing and definitely is a cause for concern. We no question about it. I think everybody on this panel, people in the chat, have known that Halo Infinite has been in some sort of disarray for a little while, hence the delay until next year if it doesn't get delayed even past that. But we heard some rumblings that there was some shuffling throughout the at the headquarters of 343. What that shuffling means, we don't know. But one thing we do know is that apparently, I think he was the lead programmer or something like that. Is Chris Lee has stepped aside, which is very concerning considering it's this late into the cycle of the game. And he was a very vocal and obviously a visual presence in terms of interviews and things like that on the game and all that stuff. So what do you guys have to think about this, and can Infinite rebound from all this negativity? Go ahead, Titan.
Noof, I'm not good with names, especially when I'm buzzed. Is this the same guy we talked about last week, or is this another one?
Why did we actually
talk
about
about someone?
No, we talked about the shuffling, and I think people were talking about Bonnie Ross, and some people were saying, well, she should step aside. But no, I don't think we were talking about Chris Lee.
Okay. Yeeks, let me go last on this one. Oh,
Chris, look, the bottom line is this: there is something wrong at 343. That is the bottom line. And the Chris Lee stepped down. It is now the third team lead to leave this in a year. So it's not a good look. I don't know, and I've talked about this numerous times on the Xbox Factor podcast, that the problem is this: there is something seriously wrong where they have had 5 years of development. Midway through the development of this game, they switched from Unreal Engine 4 to the Slipspace engine. I think that was a mistake. There's no doubt about it. I mean,
let me stop you there. Especially when the Slipspace engine, why they developed it, I don't know. I guess it was because of this was supposed to be an open world game, but everything open world I've seen about this game. Boom, did you pay attention to the map on the gameplay that they showed? It didn't look very open world. Like, these cliffs were huge, right? Like, that's not real traversal. Like, and I joked about it last week about what are you going to do? Climb to the top of this one cliff? Because there's a whole bunch of cliffs. And what are you going to do? Climb to the top? There'd be a treasure chest up there or something? Like, I made a joke about it. Like, a lot of this doesn't make sense to me. So go ahead.
No, I mean, again, it is going to be semi-open world. It's not going to be Fallout New Vegas open world. At least I don't think so. I think it's going to be, in a way, I mean, look, if it's similar to, let's just say, for instance, God of War, where there's open enough space and there's secrets to find. I would like it to be bigger. I don't think I would like more of like Horizon Zero Dawn open world, where there is limitations of where you can go, but open enough where you feel like there's plenty of space to investigate, to look for side stories, side missions, secrets, different armor parts, whatever.
All right, well, that's the problem for me. Like, so when you spend this much money on a game, and they develop this Slipspace engine, which is not enhancing the graphics, right? It's not enhancing, like, the gameplay looks the same since Halo 2, 3, whatever that, and they said they wanted to mimic that. So I've got this huge problem with them spending all this money, and we're just seeing the same old stuff. What about you?
I don't know, man. I mean, the gameplay looked very, very different for me. I really dug what I saw. I was very excited to get an open world Halo, the same way I was very happy to get an open world Gears, that it wasn't the same corridor shooter that we know.
Can I interject real quick?
Please, let's interject on all of each other's, because this one I could tell we have all different.
I will say this. Actually, the original thought process was that Halo was going to use Unreal before they created the Slipspace.
Yeah.
Okay, so the problem is that actually Unreal would make the game visually look better. Okay, they literally built Slipspace from the ground up. The problem is they listened to a small part of the community, in my opinion.
Well, I don't know about small.
It's small enough, dude, because
but it's the hardcore fan base.
Yeah, boy, you know, I'm a hardcore gearhead, and I didn't tell them to go back to Gears 2, bro.
Well,
okay,
Gears and Halo. Yeah, so, I agree.
No, and this is what I'm saying. People wanted it the way they showed it, okay, but it was not grasping to the newer Halo fans. We're not talking about Halo 4 and Halo 5. Some people love those games, by the way. A lot of people don't realize that. Like, I played Halo 5 the other day. The game visually looks incredible, and it plays really good. So what more can I ask for as a multiplayer gamer? What more can I ask for? And that's the whole point. Like, I embrace change as a gearhead, as a hardcore Gears fan. Okay, like, yes, Gears 5 is not perfect, and I've called it out 100 times about the certain things that I find wrong with it, and they've started to change that, but it's all about the old Halos. Like, dude, I get it. Like, you love Halo 3, dude. That's the only Halo I've fully realized how great that franchise is. That's the only one. You know, I beat it, I enjoyed it, and I had to know more about it. And that's the whole point. But doesn't mean I want you to go back to that. That makes no sense. Okay? You have to embrace a little bit of change. It's not like they're taking the game and they're just throwing it to the curb and be like, hey, it's third person now, or some shit like that. Like, come on, man. Like, dude, you know, people are disappointed in what they saw, and that's the whole point. Like, they're disappointed, and you know, you are releasing this on a next gen console, and you have shown us nothing visually. If anything, you could go and pull up Halo Reach or Halo 4, and it looks better than what you saw that day. And I did it myself because I was like, I love the gameplay. I did, because I'm a big Doom fan. I love Doom, and actually it pisses me off all the time, but it visually looks amazing. And it's like, come on, man. Like you got to do something that pleases both sides of the spectrum. And they're just like, hey, let's go back to the old school shit. And
that's where they went wrong with it. That's where they went wrong with this. And my message is this to the developers: do not listen to the fan base. Okay, create what your vision is, and always keep the good of what you've previously created. Get rid of the bad, and be sure to innovate.
Well, and let's be honest for a second. Let's be honest for a second, Titan. All they had to do was take Halo 4's campaign and Halo 5's multiplayer and combine them, and the entire Halo community would have been happy. But they didn't do that. Instead, they messed with the whole formula again, and they made it an open world type thing, even more than it has been.
Well, I don't have a problem with them making open world. That's part of innovation. So I don't have a problem with that. And as far as the story goes, that's yet to be seen, right? Which I think that's going to be the highlight of this whole game, is the story. But as far, you know, the graphics is the biggest thing. When you think this is going to be put on the next generation of console, this is Microsoft's flagship title. You would think the developers would look at that and realize, no matter what the fan base says, they should say this should look next gen.
Well, that's it. Here's what you have to, to some degree, you have to listen to your fans, and you have to take in some of the feedback, and you have to find the anomalies, and you have to find the similarities in it. But it's always a risk, right? You have to move forward. You have to make the game, like you said, that the developer has to make. First and foremost, they have to make their game. They have to move ahead with their vision, because you can't stay too stale and stagnant when people will say you're too old and you haven't refined. If you move too far ahead, people are going to come at you and say you're too new, you're too different, you're not the franchise we fell in love with. Well, you know what? Fuck it. I mean, look at God of War, the perfect example. There are still fans out there that can't stand the new one. They hate it. But more often, most fans love the new one and actually applaud the change in the franchise. Legend of Zelda, another epic franchise that every single Zelda game was almost largely different than the one before it. You look at things from Ocarina of Time right up to Breath of the Wild. They're fundamentally the same. The character is the same. The graphics changed over time. The play mechanics changed over time. Halo still has to do that. I think the first thing they made wrong was one. Yes, you changed the engines a bit too late. It's almost like the mid shift, and that's always tough to do for any developer, especially when you're starting to try to build for hardware that technically doesn't even exist yet. You're playing with new tools and stuff. And I think the other side of the coin is, why didn't they just build Halo 6? That's the thing. Why not Halo 6? Why is it Halo Infinite? It's like somewhere along the line, some fucker at 343 and probably at Microsoft had the brain fart that our Halo got to be Destiny all of a sudden. We got to have a games as a service. We got to build a fucking game that's going to have a community base and it's going to have microtransactions and bullshit fucking like around it forever. And we're seeing this all the time. Even Gears is implementing it now, and I think it's a crock of shit.
Well, that's
like,
a reason. There's a reason for that, New. For some reason or another, most gaming franchises stay away from the number 6 for some reason or another. You'll notice that there's a lot of examples of that. Once they hit the 6th, they change the name or they reboot, and that's kind of like history of gaming. Kind of, it's surprising. I read an article about that about 4 months ago or something, and it said, and it mentioned that about how many games stay away from that 6 number title.
Yeah, like honestly, if the new Halo had been linear like the old ones where you're on a set path, I would have been happy with it, and I bet you 90% of the Halo fans would have been happy with it too. But they're like, oh, we got to make it open world because every other game now has got open world, and you got to have a collectathon. You got to go here, you got to go there, you got to power up. Like, get rid of that crap. Just be fucking Halo. Just add new weapons, add new graphics, put a new coat of paint on it, make the story more intriguing, bring up characters you love or characters that you love to hate. Because I've always said, one of the problems with Halo the last couple of years is it didn't really have, outside of the Halo Wars with Atriox, it didn't really have definable, recognizable enemies that people wanted. And that's it. With some of the games, your good character is only as great as the bad guy it represents. Like Batman, you can't have him without Joker. You can't have Mario without Bowser. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Halo needs that too. And that's the one thing that's been missing from all the Halos is they're so different from each other. And honestly, I don't know if anybody really understands the story, because I couldn't have fucking explained half it to you. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it feels like it's gotten so complex. And so, of course, there's guys out there that will argument and go on about the books and this, that. Like, I don't have time to read all the books and the comics and all the other shit. So,
I'm gonna give you this. I would suggest to you Googling videos for the history of Halo, and there are some like 2-hour videos that are like, because I watched one that was like 2 hours long. I would suggest watching one of those videos because I got lost. I haven't really played much since after Halo 3, so I got kind of lost in all that. But after watching this 2-hour video, I kind of got caught up with things.
Right.
I'm glad that you mentioned that stuff about your likes and dislikes, because I'm going to wrap it around back to Boom, and I'm going to put Mr. Boomstick on the spotlight here. So so Noof said his likes and dislikes. I've mentioned it. Crispy Bomb has mentioned some of his. So Boom, I'm asking you, what do you like so far about it, and what would you change if you were head of 343, before you resign? Because if you made this, you would resign too, let's be honest. What would you change about this?
Well, the thing is this: you're probably not going to like what I have to say, because
I love that.
The whole, listen, Combat Evolved was great, but it's old. Corridor shooting is an old man's game. I'm sorry. You need to advance. It cannot be the same boxed in corridor. You cannot be fighting the same grunts and elites.
All right, well, you got to come up with something different, Boom.
No, very, very, very simple.
I don't disagree yet.
Yeah, no. How you do that is you make this into an action RPG. Okay, this is how you change the game. Now, of course, you're gonna have very familiar weapons. You're gonna have the sticky grenades. You're gonna have the regular grenades. You're gonna have warthogs. You're gonna have all the standard vehicles that we that we drive around or fly around in. You can have the Needler, but this needs to be a game that gives you more to do than just the story. They need to evolve. Now, the multiplayer is always going to be big team battle. Now we have Warzone. Now we have all of the other classic maps that are going to be coming back, and that's great. We may have even a battle royale, which I won't play, but it'll be there for people that want to play that. For me, as someone that really enjoyed what they did with Gears, I want to be able to find hidden things in Halo Infinite. I want to go off to and they showed it on the map. Here's where you got to go. This is the main mission. But if I didn't want to do that main mission, I just wanted to drive around. See, my biggest problem with Halo in all of the years, and my favorite is 3, still of all time is 3. Is you never got a chance to really enjoy the scenery, to learn about your surroundings, to really do some, side missions. And I think if they can add that, they can add side missions, they can add characters, hidden armor parts that you can change, hidden weapons. Like, for instance, Gears 5 did it great. They had weapons you could only find if you went looking for them. And some of them, like, for instance, the long shot, fired 2 rounds instead of 1, which was dope before reload. There were several other weapons that I loved that I found, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm not getting rid of this. Yeah. I want to see them expand on the universe and bringing in the Banished, which we saw, of course, in the Halo RTS, is fantastic. Bringing the Flood back, another big one. Why not? The Flood is they're great characters. So I just want to see if what leaked early, that we're going to get side missions where we're actually going to use Atriox, or we're actually going to use some of the other Spartans in side missions that you could find and do. For instance, there's a team of Marines that crashed and they need saving. If you don't look for them, they die. But if you find them, you save them, and it could potentially change the story. That's what I want.
And that would be an excellent way to, because I know I've heard you personally say about Locke on on Halo 5 about how you didn't like a lot of Locke's story. Well, that would be a perfect way to integrate other Spartan story into it by optional side quest missions. I think that'd be excellent.
My biggest problem with Locke wasn't that he was not a good character. He was stuffed up your nose, and there was no character development.
Well,
and what made Halo 5 worse is that through the commercials, they painted this big Master Chief versus Locke story, and the marketing lied. The marketing lied to the people.
And you know what? Locke came off brazen.
Yes.
A lot of people don't understand that. Like, it was like shoved in your face, exactly what you just said. He was shoved in your face, and you had to deal with him. And you had to deal with him for a long period of time. And I think that's what turned people off, because the love for Master Chief is like none other. It's like Marcus Phoenix for me. You know what I'm saying? So, like, or even Dom, that's why, gaming love, that's what it is. And a lot of people don't understand that. Like, you love a game, you're invested in it, and then all of a sudden they just shove something in your face, and they're just like, you got to deal with it no matter what. And then on top of it, you don't even have the climax you think that was going to happen. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's a big joke. You're like, what? Like, are you kidding me?
Blue Moon FC said, quality, Boom. I'd still play that Halo Battle Royale, though. And I agree with him. To me, any Battle Royale, you put a Battle Royale, and that'll get me into the game.
Oh, you're a Battle Royale player. Okay.
But yeah, absolutely. Right. But I don't think it's coming to this Halo.
I don't think it is now.
All right, have at it, Doof.
Okay, all right. Well, that's a great thing, guys. And like I said, amazing opinions, and nobody's wrong and nobody's right. I loved everybody's way of view, like I said, and I guess that's always the toughest part. And developers really struggle with this, is because you listen to a certain side of the fan base that wants this, and you listen to certain ones that want this. And this debate is as old as time. It happens with every friend. 343 is not the only ones. We still got the people. Bungie was the best Halo developer ever. 343 is the best. You got Call of Duty Infinity Ward's the best. Treyarch's the best. So it happens. It's just preference. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, if you don't like what they're making, you got a choice. You speak with your wallet, and ultimately that is the strongest way to get your message across. But I think at the end of the day, every developer wants to make a great game. They hope that you're going to love it and enjoy it, and that the progress that they make and the changes they make. I wasn't opposed to what I saw with Halo Infinite from the gameplay perspective a few months ago. I was quite fine with it. Like I don't really have an issue with that. I just found that graphically, being that this was a launch title and a showcase title, and most often when it's a first party title for your flagship console, those games normally, they kind of set the bar, they kind of set the tone, right? And that game just looked like, honestly, like Crispy even said, like Halo 5 honestly looked better than that game, and that's kind of disturbing.
And that's the fans' fault. They listened to the fans. The fans put it in a terrible way. They said they wanted it to feel retro. They wanted to have that Halo 1 feel. And the way the developers took that was, I think, the cheap way out. They said, all right, we're going to make it look like it. And that's I think the worst thing they could have done possible to this game.
Yeah. I think with this kind of technology, with this kind of console, and why not? I think the Series X is capable of visuals very close to, if not on par with the cutscenes that we've been seeing in the Halo franchise. What do you guys think? Right?
Compare Halo to Hellblade 2, what we've seen, like night and day, right?
Yeah. Speaking of Hellblade 2, guys, and Ninja Theory, if you guys fuck with that game at all on the sequel, I'm coming for you. Just kidding. But I really hope that they add more weapons to Hellblade 2, but they don't change the formula. You know what I'm saying?
It had a good gameplay loop. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't want them to start with this RPG bullshit.
No, but you don't want epic battles, though. I think that would be incredible.
Epic battles would be cool. Like I'm bigger scope, but like I don't need like weapons that have level meters. I don't want this to be Dark Souls. You know what I mean? Like
I don't think they're going that way.
No, I don't think so either. Maybe give her a shield and a bow and more options that way and stuff like that. But I don't want them to get crazy with it. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you this.
People are like, oh, that's the way to go.
It's funny that you say I don't want them to get crazy like this, but it's based upon a crazy person, right? Someone with a mental disability. So and it looks like they're taking this, her mental affliction to the next level, and I like that, man. That freaking song that. This gonna be awesome. Whatever. I was hyped for that, man. I want to sing that over and over.
I gotta say, you were close, dude.
I haven't heard it in a while. I could probably be spot on after a few practice runs, and I'm not buzzed, but it was legit. I loved it. Let me know if you loved it in the chat. Hit a 1 for me in the chat. If that little chant got you hyped.
Next week, Titan Drago has got to sing some sort of song in Norse lingo. He's going to get rid of his Next Generation segment next week, and it's going to be a Titan song in Norse lingo. Oh God. Anyway, you guys know us. Anyway, whatever it is, what it is. Let's wish the developers at 343 all the best. Let's hope that with a few good months and some added help that they can get the ship on track. And I'm confident they will. I know they're going to invest a lot of money back into it and make sure they got the right people going, however that is. We wish Chris Lee and anybody who has departed all the best. All that stuff, guys. But that is it for the show tonight. Just before we go, we do have a super chat. Regulator 951, what's happening, brother? Thanks for stopping by. He drops $4.99. Stop by the show because I love you guys. Keep grinding and producing all your great content, fellas. Appreciate Boom and Crispy showing. Love the show. Well, we appreciate Crispy and Boom for being here tonight. I know it gets late for those guys, so any energy they can still muster up to be here with us is awesome. This was a fantastic podcast once again. Big shout out again to everybody in the chat. Rick Payne, man. Hopefully you enjoyed your first time being here. Thanks for being here. Greatly appreciated. Hopefully I give everybody a shout out and a welcome, and to those catching this show, like I said, on the replay, thank you so much. We hit over 50 again tonight. I like the numbers are heading in the right direction. And again, please share this out. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. The support is appreciated. But anyway, guys, we're going to get out of here. Let's start with our amazing guest, and we'll start off with the crispy one as he drops a bomb and rolls it through the aisles. He'll be back again, I'm sure. Crispy, let people know where they can check out your content, brother.
What's up, everybody? Yes, awesome show tonight. We love the sexy time. Yes, we do. Yeah, it's at Crispy Bomb on Twitter, Crispy Bomb 28 Xbox Live. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. It sounds like I'm shooting at Boomstick real quick, but no, it is Four Guys with Quarters. We are going to be interviewing Koshi Englar, who has voiced some Battletoads, some Battlefront 2, and also KOTOR. Yes, so that should be fun. And yep, next podcast Thursday, 7 p.m. And of course, Breakfast with Boom, 10 a.m. Fridays. And I will see you there. And then we got Retro Renegades, which I just came off of. So yeah, always fun. You're hitting that like quadruple header. That's the way I feel like at this point.
Like you said, guys, make sure you go check out Retro Renegades. They got a great panel over there. A lot of good guys, a lot of fun. Like I said, their podcast similar to this. They talk some gaming, but they talk old games. They talk a lot of things. It's a great, fun little podcast. Go check them out. All that stuff. And obviously, if you spend any amount of time watching podcasts, good chance you probably run into one of Boom's. Mr. Boomstick XL. Obviously, you got a busy week and the next week ahead of you. I know you're busy preparing, and I wouldn't be surprised if you're not getting back to finish some notes after you leave here. So let people know where they can catch your content. I greatly appreciate you being here, my brother. And excited to hear your takes on everything next week when the Series X drops. So let people know where they can catch up with you.
Yeah, real easy, man. Thanks so much. First of all, it was a great show, great time to hang out with you guys, hang out with the chat. And again, if you're new, and you don't know who I am, it's Mr. Boomstick XL. You can find me at Mr. Boomstick XL on Twitter. And of course, if you're interested in a multitude of live podcasting weekly, you can check out Double Barrel Gaming on YouTube.
Nice. There you go. Swift and easy, as you got a lot of great shows, a lot of great podcasts, good stuff there, guys. Make sure you go check out Mr. Boomstick at Double Barrel Gaming over on YouTube and get that subscribe button, man. Keep those numbers climbing. And finally, obviously, Mag couldn't be here tonight, but he passes along his best wishes. He will be back next week. Let's get over to the man who brings common back to sense, Mr. Titan Drago. Brother, where can people catch up? I know you don't do a whole lot of podcasting yet. I know you do have a channel, but where can people at least hang out and send you a message or two if they want?
Everything Titan Drago, Twitter, on Twitter at Titan Drago. But Boom, Crispy, great to have you two on. Mag, we missed you. Missed you, bud, but we'll see you on camera next week as we will all show our faces and our Series X's and S's on camera. So if you ever wondered what I look like when I rage or when I'm excited, you'll get that chance. Other than that, we all need to be a little bit more like Wild Bates, because anyone that can work on diesels while listening to Gad, first of all, I was an electronic technician in the Navy, and I've never had much mechanical skills. So in my opinion, that brings the common back to sense.
Titan, what you're saying is that next week you do actually look like Bobcat Goalie.
I feel like next week Titan's going to be a hand model. There you go.
Hand model.
Oh God, November 10th, people. November 10th. Yes, indeed. Awesome stuff, guys. Hopefully you got your pre-orders, all that good stuff. And if not, just keep the faith, cross your fingers. Maybe good things will happen. Maybe some of those retailers will be able to stock the shelves and you'll get lucky enough to get one. But anyway, guys, don't you guys wiggle your wives with these loud outbursts. My wife is still up and waiting for me to go to bed. I don't know about the rest of these guys, women, but yeah.
I guarantee next week we have our lowest numbers yet.
She's under the table right now. There you go.
there you go. All right, guys. Well, you all have a great night. We appreciate you being here. Again, we will be back next week on Gaming After Dark. It will be the Xbox Series X launch day. It's actually on the 10th, so we're going to kind of give you our impressions of, and it's going to be an all Xbox thing. Like, just Nothing but Xbox, no crap. Just our excitement. We'll talk about the past, the present, and the future. Just all Xbox, baby.
All right,
Anyway,
gentlemen.
we'll see you later, guys. Have a great night.
Take care, everybody.
Laters.
All right, we're off.